You know, for almost 500 years, there's one name that's basically become shorthand for prophecy, Nostradamus. And his predictions? Oh man, people have been arguing about them and obsessing over them forever. So today, we're going to be historical detectives. We're going to take one of his most famous prophecies and decode it, piece by piece. You ready? Let's get into it. All right, here it is in its original kind of spooky 16th century French. Now, at first glance, it just looks like a weird jumble of phrases, right? Something about empires, pillars, and rocks. It's poetic, for sure, super cryptic, and it feels like a real puzzle pulled right out of history. So the big question is, what in the world is he actually trying to tell us here? Okay, so let's put these side by side. On the left, the original French, and on the right, the modern English translation. Before the change of empire comes, a very wonderful event will take place. The field changed, the pillar of porphyry, set, transmuted on the gnarled rock. Okay, seeing it in English definitely helps, but it's still packed with all this symbolic language. And that is our challenge for today's explainer, to unlock the real meaning behind these words. You know, with any good riddle, you gotta understand the clues first. And the key to cracking this whole prophecy lies in three really strange but very specific phrases. Once we figure out what they represent, I promise you, the entire picture just snaps into focus. So let's break them down one by one. So first up, we have the field changed. Now, he's not talking about a literal farmer's field here. Come on. Nostradamus is using this as a metaphor for the whole situation, the entire landscape of power. He's telling us that the very context, the rules of the game, are about to be completely and fundamentally changed.
Okay, now this one is really cool. The pillar of porphyry. So porphyry is this deep, purpley red stone that was a huge deal for Roman emperors. It was the absolute, ultimate symbol of imperial power and royalty. So when Nostradamus drops a reference to a pillar made of this stuff, he's pointing directly at the very seat of an empire's authority. It's a dead giveaway.
And that brings us to our final piece, the gnarled rock. This isn't a symbol of something strong and stable. Nope, it's the exact opposite. It represents a foundation that's twisted, difficult, chaotic. This suggests that whatever big change is coming, it is not going to be smooth. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be built on top of some serious instability.
All right, so we've got our decoder ring now. We know the field is the whole landscape of power, the pillar is the empire's authority, and the gnarled rock is a foundation of pure chaos. We have all the clues. So let's put this puzzle together and see what picture starts to emerge.
So if you look closely, the Quatrain is actually laying out a sequence of events. First, some kind of really big, remarkable, visible event happens. Then, that causes the entire environment to change. After that, the very symbol of imperial power, that pillar, is transformed, or transmuted. And where does all this happen? It happens upon that foundation of chaos and difficulty we talked about, the gnarled rock.
So what's the bottom line here? When you lay all the pieces out, the puzzle kind of solves itself. Nostradamus isn't predicting one specific thing. He's describing a process. He's talking about a deep, visible transformation of power, one that's born from chaos, and one that acts as the final, dramatic signal that a whole empire is right on the edge of a massive change. This is a perfect example of how he used these layered symbols to get his point across.
But why? Why, after 500 years, do we still get so drawn in by these words? I mean, whether you think Nostradamus was a genuine seer or just a really, really good poet who is great at being vague, his words have this power you just can't deny. They tap into something timeless, you know? This deep human anxiety about change, about power, and about the stability of the world as we know it. And that, well, that leaves us with the real puzzle, doesn't it? As we look at our own world today, with all of its insane, rapid changes and shifting powers, what do we actually see in these ancient words? Are they a real warning sent to us from the past? Or is their power just that they're vague enough for us to see whatever we want to see? Maybe our brains are just wired to find patterns in chaos. Maybe we see prophecies fulfilled because it gives us a feeling of control. Are these words a mirror reflecting our own deepest anxieties? Or are they just a blank canvas where we paint our own fears about what's coming next?